Well, looky who we have here. Joining us now in studio, the sheriff of Portsmouth, Bill Watson, and his captain, Lee Cherry. Now, they're going to be taking your calls. They're here for the hour. They brought breakfast. That's why we love them. We'll work for food right here in the studio. Now, full disclaimer, Bill Watson is an FOJ. You know what an FOJ is? Friend of John. Therefore, we endorse Bill Watson once again for re-election wholeheartedly, and we will defend him for the next 5 weeks because we are friends of Bill. Friend of John, friend of Bill. When you become an FOJ, it's got a lot of perks. And one of those is we never leave a soldier on the field. Besides, he's doing a great job. And Sheriff, welcome.
Morning. How you doing?
Okay, so you got Captain Cherry here. So tell us the story. You were elected sheriff a bunch of times as a Democrat.
Right.
Even though you're kind of a conservative Democrat. But the party didn't like that. So they kicked you out, but they did it through scheming and lying, in my opinion, is what they did when I saw the whole thing. It seemed kind of shadowy to me. So what happened? Explain to the people what happened.
Well, they used the excuse that they forgot to send the paperwork off. That was Paige Cherry. What they did was they violated the Voter Right Act. They denied the people the right to have a primary. Well, the code says that you have to have either a primary or a caucus. Well, if it's too late for the primary, it's too late for the caucus. But Louise Lucas said, no, that's not the way it works. I said, Louise, you don't understand how the code works. She says, I am the Democratic Party. I went, I'm impressed.
Wow. So she didn't want you reelected. So you were the Democratic incumbent sheriff. If
Correct.
There was a primary, you would have beaten whoever's running now 3.5 to 1, right?
Right.
So they couldn't beat you in a primary. Mm-hmm. So, and as the incumbent, you have the right to say you want a primary.
Right.
But they fudged the rules to get to rig the system so you wouldn't be the nominee.
Well, they didn't fudge. They just out and out violated the rules. And she already had it set up to where she could have her little, entourage to go in on the caucus to vote me out to put her candidate in so she could control the sheriff's office. And she said, I had to run in a caucus. I said, I don't have to do anything. I handed her my resignation. I said, I'm now an independent. You have a nice life. She said, you can't do that. I said, watch me. And I did it.
So then you had to go out and get the signatures, right, to get on the ballot.
Right.
As an independent, which you were able to do. So now you're the incumbent Democrat sheriff. Now you're running for re-election on November 7th as an independent.
Correct.
And who are the other candidates in that race?
We have a guy named Glenn Perry that's also an independent. And we have Michael Moore, which is Louise's person that she put in there. He's a Democrat.
Handpicked.
Right, handpicked by Louise Lucas, right.
Right. So basically Louise wants her own person in there.
Well, she wants to run the sheriff's office.
She wants to run the sheriff's office. By the way, if you don't know, Louise Lucas is the Democratic state senator that represents the area. And she's been a big Obama backer for a long time. She comes on our show occasionally. We'll give her a chance to respond as time goes by between now and November 7th. So, Sheriff Watson, you're running as an independent. Your track record, though, has been sterling. So why should the people of Portsmouth reelect you, Bill, to another term?
Well, they know that I'm going to get the job done. I mean, I might be a little unconventional about certain things, and I'm going to tell you what's on my mind, whether you like it or not. But the fact remains is while the city is hemming and hawing and having meetings and talking about this and that, I'm getting the job done. Mm-hmm. You call the city, it might take weeks to get something done. You call me, I get it done the next day. Mm-hmm. So, and the thing is, most of all, is our seniors. The city will give anything in the world to women to have multiple kids, never been married, this, that, and the other. Excuse me. And, I mean, they get anything they want. They get free housing, they get free utilities, they get free cell phone. I mean, they get everything. But a senior citizen that's paid taxes all their life and now they're destitute because they're living on $800 a month Social Security, the city won't do anything for them. That's where I come in.
So how do you help them, Bill?
I have inmates out there cutting their grass, trimming their trees. I mean, that's money that they don't have to spend for somebody to cut their grass. They can buy their prescriptions. We make minor repairs, like if they get a little leak in the roof. We won't put the whole roof on the house, but if you got a little leak, we'll fix it. Just that, whatever comes up. But we try to do everything we can to help save the seniors money. We give them free firewood in the wintertime so they offset their heating bills. We've even taken them to the doctors. We picked up their prescriptions for them. Some of them are shut-ins where they can't get out, and we do make deliveries for them.
Okay, so you've been a big part of the senior community in Portsmouth for some time. I want to go to Captain Cherry for a minute. Captain Cherry, let me just ask you this straight out. A lot of the criticism that I've heard leveled at Sheriff Watson is that, well, he doesn't have the law enforcement background that Moore does. How do you guys respond to that?
Well, first of all, that criticism is not correct because he does have a very extensive law enforcement background, almost 30 years in it, both as a Norfolk police officer and with the sheriff's office. The problem there is that they confuse law enforcement experience with management experience. The key to being a good sheriff, and he is the fact that you have management business experience. Every single day he's dealing with a $12.5 million budget, and he's dealing with 3 different budgets. He's dealing with over 180 employees who come in with their own set of problems, and it's a management. It's an employee management. So the management skills are paramount in this job, not necessarily law enforcement. And I think the key to his success is not only his management skills, but he's picked very good people to put in positions to assist him, such as our undersheriff and financial officers and those type of people, to the point that every time that this sheriff's office is audited, it comes to the penny. We have a jail that was built in 1960-some. 69. 7 years in a row, 100% approval by the Department of Corrections. You know, this has to do with your people, but it has to do with somebody who is a leader that picks good people to do the job.
So tell us about, I mean, one thing that a sheriff does, and there's a couple of things that just, we always have this discussion when our sheriffs are on, but one of the key things that a sheriff does is they manage the jail, right? So you've had some criticism on that, but, you know, you look at your jail numbers, they're pretty clean from what you guys have done. So can you expand on that?
Well, you know, a jail is a very difficult situation. Let's face it, the people that are in there, you have basically 2 types of people in the jail. The ones that are innocent because they haven't been proven guilty yet, they've been held prior to trial, and the ones that have been found guilty. But you've got a mix of people that don't necessarily go by the rules. So the ability to run that jail in a professional fashion, to protect those people, and it is the responsibility of the sheriff to protect them no matter who they are. Because like I said, you've got innocent people and guilty people right there together. We have just a great reputation in that jail. And here again, I go back to the deputies, and I go back to the leadership, such as Lieutenant Colonel Rucko, who runs that jail. He just celebrated 40 years of service with the sheriff's office. That's the type of competency that you have in doing what we do.
So Sheriff Watson, what is the reason to vote you in for another term instead of Moore?
Well, I've been the sheriff for 12 years. I know the department inside and out. Just like with both my opponents, they say that when they're elected sheriff, they're going to keep my the programs and, you know, so on and so forth. And my answer is, well, if you're going to keep my programs, why do we need you? You know, you have 0 experience with the sheriff's office. And they don't understand that when you say, well, I'm just going to bring in some of my entourage, but I'm not going to lay anybody off. You get X number of dollars, X number of positions from the state, and that's it. It's like a carton of eggs. If you got 12 eggs in a carton, you got 2 eggs in your hand, and you want to put these 2 eggs in that carton, you have to take 2 eggs out of the carton to put these 2 eggs in.
Right.
They don't understand the concept. In other words, this is the amount of positions you get, period. You know, and they just don't grasp the concept of that.
Why does the editorial writers of the Virginian Pilot hate you so much?
God, tell them to kiss my butt. That's why.
That's why.
Mm-hmm. Because, you know, they're armchair quarterbacks. They've never been out in the trenches. Okay, they don't know what's going on down there. They hear rumors, this, that, and the other. And every time you turn around, they call us on the phone. Hey, give me a scoop on so and so. I don't have time to talk. Click. You know, because they're not going to get it right anyway. You can put it in writing and give it to them. They screw it up. They really do. They can screw up a soup sandwich. They really can. You know, they have to put their twist on things because they want to sell newspapers.
Right.
And they don't care, you know, how they damage anybody's reputation or what they say about you as long as they sell newspapers. I don't even take the Virginia Pilot, and I don't have a bird, so I don't need a Virginia Pilot. I don't need it for a bird cage.
What do you think of these NFL players taking a knee? I mean, what if somebody...
They ought to fire every one of them.
They should?
Yes, sir.
What if somebody on your own staff wouldn't stand for the national anthem?
I'll take the badge right off his shirt in front of everybody. You're done. Get out of here. If you're going to disrespect our flag and our country and our veterans, I'm going to disrespect you by taking the badge off of your shirt in front of God and everybody. You're out of here.
You just take it right off.
Right off.
Done. Fired. Gone.
Done on the spot.
Have a nice day.
I'm not going to tell them to have a nice day. I'm telling them to get out.
Just take their badge and get out.
There's nothing nice about insulting my country or my flag.
That's right. Well, I tell you what, I think you're 100% spot on there. Sheriff Watson, what the Democratic Party did to you is really unconscionable because they illegally stripped you of the opportunity to get renominated by the people.
Correct.
So they took it out of the hands of the people. I mean, if I could just explain what happened. So Sheriff Watson is a 3-term sheriff getting elected by the city of Portsmouth 3 times as the Democratic candidate. They were up again. He didn't do what they say. He didn't toe the line. He's his own man. So they didn't want him as the Democratic nominee. They wanted to get him out. Louise put her own person in. So what they did is they said they missed the deadline to file for a primary because they knew in a primary that Watson would win 3-1. So then what they did is they rigged the system and said, well, we're going to have a firehouse caucus, which the party can completely rig, which put the sheriff at a huge disadvantage. And legally, if they missed the deadline for the primary, they also missed the deadline for the caucus, right?
Correct.
So they scam that to put their own guy in, and he says, you know what, I'm going to run as an independent. I've had it. Let's go to Bill. You're on the air, Bill, with Sheriff Watson.
Hey, how you doing today?
Good morning.
Sheriff, you were talking earlier about helping the senior citizens cut grass and everything.
Correct.
Does the sheriff sheriffs do that, or do you have a workforce that work gang, whatever the proper terminology is, to do those tasks?
Yeah, well, it's actually the work crews. These are inmates that have been screened, and they're nonviolent, and we've got them out there cutting grass.
So basically, then that's saving the taxpayers money.
Absolutely.
So, and I guess do these inmates, do they perform duties for the city? I mean, do they cut grass for the city?
Correct. Yes, we
clean
do.
Ditches or whatever.
Yeah, we get calls from the city all the time. In fact, Bernadette Hogg just sent me an email yesterday. We've got to do a job for the city. And that saves tax dollars. And at the same time, what we're taking these inmates, and as they cut grass, we teach them how to work on lawnmowers. We teach them how to do horticulture. We teach them how to plant gardens. We teach them how to operate equipment. I mean, that way when they get out, they have some form of trade where they can get a job when they get out. So it's win-win for everybody.
Well, that sounds like a great program. And if it's saving the taxpayers of Portsmouth money, that's a great thing because, as you know, we have the highest taxes in Tidewater.
Yeah, so, tell me about it. I know.
I guess you got my vote. If you're going to save me tax money, I'm going to vote for you.
Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
And we got a text here from Corey in Danville, who says, where can we go to donate to the sheriff's reelection? You want to answer that, Captain Cherry?
Yes, they can donate to Friends of Sheriff Bill Watson or donate to reelect Bill Watson. And they can send it, needless to say, they can't send it to our address. So if they want to, they can mail it in to 1108 Melvin Drive, Portsmouth, Virginia, 23701.
Why don't you say that over so we can write it down?
It's 1108 Melvin, Melvin Drive, Portsmouth, Virginia, 23701. We also have a post office box, but I can't remember that right now, so I'm using an alternative address.
6803, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember.
So
Give us that 1108 Melvin Drive. What was the zip code?
Portsmouth 23701. And if they mail it to that address, we'll be sure to get it in, and we appreciate that.
We appreciate that. Let's go to Den in Chesapeake. Den, you're on the air. You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network with Sheriff Bill Watson.
Yes, not a question, but a comment. It seems to me like, Sheriff Watson, that you and John, who is head of Common Sense of the Commonwealth, are two peas in a pod. It is just so refreshing to hear somebody that when you hear them talk, not only makes sense, but you can understand what they said, okay? So I'm going to send a check to you right now, okay? Absolutely positively. I can't vote for you, but by golly, I'll support you any way I can. Over and out.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate that. If you know anybody in Portsmouth, tell them to make sure they go to the polls, and I really do appreciate your contribution.
Okay, Den, we appreciate that. And 1108 1108 Melvin Drive in Portsmouth, 23701, 23701 if you want to make a donation to the sheriff. Let's go to John in Virginia Beach. John, you're on the air.
Good morning, John, and gentlemen, thank you for the work that you do. I want to tell you that I am not in your city, and I can't vote for you. And I don't know if you've started advertising yet, but just from one voice out here in the wilderness, I know that my wife and I, as soon as we see any of the commercials right now for governor, we're tired of slickly produced attack ads. I think you have a very compelling story. And if I were advising you on your campaign, whether it's on the radio or TV ads or print mailers, I would just tell your story, plain and simple. I've been your sheriff for 3 terms. I know the city. I know the people. You have put your confidence in me, and I have delivered each time. Democratic Party is trying to undermine me for this person and for this reason. And I just want to continue doing my job for you without party interference. No slick packaging, no flashy colors, just you talking person to person to the people.
I appreciate that. And I'm going to tell you, you're in Virginia Beach, correct?
Correct.
Well, you have a very good sheriff out there, Sheriff Stolly. He's going to need your help on the 7th, too. If you can't help me, I would appreciate it if you could help him. And if you have any friends or in Portsmouth, if you tell them to come out and support me, I would really appreciate it. And I really do appreciate just, the attitude that you have. And, how it's a common sense approach. And I think the thing that makes Louise so mad is I can't be bought and I can't be intimidated. So, I work directly for the people, and if she doesn't like it, she's got to live with it. I really don't care how she feels about it. But I do appreciate your comments.
Thank you, and best of luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
Well, that's the thing about Sheriff Watson. He can't be bought. He's a man of the people, and you can't buy him, and you can't intimidate him, and the donors don't matter. I mean, he is responsible to the people of his city. That's why, he's gotten elected 3 times. Now, Captain Lee Cherry, if the sheriff does not win and Moore takes over, are you going to be able to keep your job?
Oh, no, I'm out of a job. See, this whole thing has to do with keeping Lee employed, too. But,
They're going to fire you, right?
Yeah, I'm gone. I'm out of there, on the 31st. That's not, I'm getting to the point that, he loves senior citizens. That's why he hired me. But I love working for this guy, and I've known him for 20-plus years, and I see what he does every single day, and it's great to be a part of it. I think I told you earlier, 2 days ago, we put a handicap ramp up for a veteran that was having problems. Today, we're loading a truck to go to Florida with food. Every single day, he's doing something to help the people in the city of Portsmouth. I often refer to him as St. Teresa with a gun, but his heart's that big when it comes to helping people. So not only does he do the job that he's required to do and he's elected for, but he's reaching out to serve the people in Portsmouth, and I think they realize that.
Well, look, and I know I saw you guys come here with a truck today. Right. So, right. I mean, you're getting all that done for people. I want to talk for a second about this. You've gotten some criticism about not sending enough people to the so-called Tidewater Regional Jail. And instead you put them in your own jail. Why?
You're talking about Hampton Roads Regional.
Yeah.
Well, what it is, we have a contract that was in place long before I became sheriff that we have to pay for 250 bids whether we use them or not. Well, back then we had 500 and 600 inmates in our jail. Now we have 200 something. They're just not making any arrests. The problem I've got is I try to use a common sense approach. If we pay for the bids, whether we use them or not, why would I want to keep them full when I can use those inmates here to serve the city free of charge? Mm-hmm. You send them to Hampton Roads Regional, they're going to sit there. Mm-hmm. Hampton Roads doesn't do any public service for any of the city or for any elderly or anything. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to keep a certain amount of the inmates here that I can use to go out and serve the seniors and to do jobs for the city free of charge. It's win-win for everybody.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Well, apparently not with some people, like Louise Lucas.
Why would they want to? I mean, if the inmates in your own jail are doing work for the city instead of going to the Hampton Roads Regional Jail, why would you want to send them to the Hampton Roads Regional Jail? I don't get that.
That's how I look at it. You know, why would I send them over there to do nothing when I can keep them here to serve the city?
Well, she was also, wasn't she also in favor, you were at odds with her because she was also in favor of getting rid of the jail in its entirety, right?
She was to put her hotel there. That's
right.
Why.
The hotel for the casino.
Why do you think
which is never going to happen?
She's supporting Michael Moore, so he'll get rid of that jail.
Why don't they want the jail? Just so they can have the land for the casino?
Correct.
Okay, well, there's not going to be a casino
well, I don't think so either. She wants a hotel and a casino.
Yeah,
so
I mean, look, I'm in favor of the casino. I'm with her on that. I'm 100% behind it. But Virginia is tough. We got a long way to go before that is ever going to happen. Okay, I've got a text here from Mike in Portsmouth who says, for Sheriff Watson, after you win, any new plans or goals for the next term? I've been a big supporter since you supported the Highland Biltmore residents with drainage problems. Keep up the good work, Mike.
Well, my plans right now want to get this one under my belt first. I try to keep a positive attitude towards it, but, nothing's chiseled and granite. And the problem I have is a lot of people would tell me, oh, you got it, don't worry about it. That's what scares me. When people say you have it, that means they're not worried about going to the polls to vote because they figure everybody else is going to vote me in. Everybody has to go to the polls and vote. You don't take anything for granted. Mm-hmm. And that's the way I feel about it. You just got to be there.
I mean, how tough is it going to be to win without the Democratic line, being an independent?
Well, the Democratic Party has imploded on itself. I saw the Democratic Party start to go downhill for the last couple of years. And it's a clique. And that's the problem. Everybody's leaving the Democratic Party. And I'm not saying anything against Democrats or anything else. I'm just saying that the Portsmouth Democratic Party has gone downhill over the years. And I think Louise Lucas is the one that ruined it. And her and Paige Cherry came up with this scheme, and it's a violation of the American Voter Rights Act. I mean, they're a clear violation. They could be sued for it. And Paige Cherry, and now running for treasurer in the city of Portsmouth, my answer to him is, if you can't remember to send off one piece of paper, what makes you think the taxpayers want you to handle $750 million of tax money?
As treasurer.
Mm-hmm.
So that everybody knows what happened is Paige Cherry, who was running for treasurer as an independent, he's a federal employee.
Correct.
So he can't run as a Democrat because of the Hatch Act.
Right.
Anyway, he's chairman of the Democratic Party of Portsmouth, and he said that he forgot to send the paperwork in to register for a primary before the deadline, which is kind of convenient when they didn't want a primary because they didn't want Bill Watson to win the primary.
They did it on purpose.
So they did it on purpose, so they forget the deadline. But in the bylaws, it says clearly, if you miss the deadline for a primary, you've also missed the deadline for a caucus.
What it says is you must have either a primary or a caucus. Well, if one's out the window, the other's out the window.
Right.
You can't have it both ways.
Right. So they try to rig the system.
They did rig the system.
They did rig the system. And so they basically, thought that you would just go away?
I guess they
What were they hoping to have happen here?
I guess they figured that they would get me on the caucus because she already had the deck stacked.
Right.
But
it was
when
rigged.
Louise Lucas, yeah.
Yeah, it was rigged.
But when I told her, this is it, this is my resignation, I'm going as an independent, you could have knocked her down with a feather. She said, you can't do that. I said, don't tell me what I can't do. I said, I'll see you in the general election. And I walked out.
So they didn't expect that you would turn around and run as an independent because it's hard. It's tougher to raise money. It's tougher. You got to get all the signatures.
Well, you know what's really funny is you would not believe the people that have supported me since I became an independent. Because
really?
the Democrats that I served before didn't make any difference to.
Right.
And I picked up a lot of the Republican vote. I picked up a lot of independent vote. I picked up a lot of the Green Party vote, or a Tea Party vote. So I mean, I've actually gotten more support by being an independent than when I was a Democrat.
Unbelievable. Okay. Hey, by the way, this segment brought to you by our good friends Chrissy and Alan Smith of Portsmouth. Hopefully they're going to vote for Mike Watson. And by the way, they have a $39 air conditioner tune-up special going right now. This is a great deal. Chrissy and Alan Smith of AC Special. Go to acspecialist.net, acspecialist.net, $39 turnkey and air conditioner tune-up special. You'll get this money back in 60 days by getting your air conditioner to run as smooth as can be. I did mine. It's great. $39. You can't beat it any place. All you have to do is give them a jingle, 757-558-9122, 757-558-9122, or go to acspecialist.net, acspecialist.net. Let's go to Mike in Portsmouth. Mike, you're on the air, trucking the truth.
Hey, just had a question for the sheriff. Once you win the next term, you got any new plans or goals for the office?
Well, we want to extend our help to the seniors and to the youth of our city. The problem we've got is, you've got to get a hold of these kids before they become a teenager. Once they get in 13, 14, 15 years old, you've basically lost them. Now, I've gone to the school system twice, one with Stuckwich, and I've gone to Mr. Bracey, too. And I've told him, I said, do schools still have assemblies? He said, well, sure they do. I said, I'd like to bring some of my inmates up there in their jumpsuits. I mean, these are nonviolent inmates. And, let them stand up on the stage in an assembly and say, look, I thought I was cool. I quit school. This is what I got into. Look at me now. You know what they told me? They didn't want inmates on school property. Well, how are you going to get a hold of the kids and let them know what's going on? These inmates can actually, sit down and talk to these kids, and I believe they can help convert them over to stay in school. Get a trade. And, I try to tell the kids nowadays, you walk around with, laptops and all this stuff. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but the ones that's making the money are the tradesmen, the people that can use their hands. They're the ones making the money right now. Become a plumber if you want to. Become a carpenter. I mean, plumbers make as much as doctors do now. It's unbelievable. You see it advertised all day long. Heat and AC men, they start you at $70,000 a year to start out. Learn how to use your hands.
Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off there. No, I agree 100% with you on the trades. That's something that should be pushed nationwide. And you said that they wouldn't allow the inmates in there. Was that decision made at the school level, or was it like the school board?
No, that was the school. That was the superintendent of schools, Dr. Stuckwich, said he did not want inmates on school property. Mr. Bracey he said it sounded good, but he hadn't given me an answer yet. And we've even gotten calls before, like at Churchland High School. They had a couple trees out that needed trimming because the limbs were down low and people could hide on them. They want us to come out there and cut the trees, cut the limbs and stuff, and, cut the grass out there and get all clean and nice and pretty for them. I came up with inmates. They said, what are you doing? I said, we're going to trim your trees. No, you have to do it on a Saturday when there's no students around. I said, excuse me. I said, you want it done on a Saturday? You come do it, pal, because let me tell you what, my deputies don't, they're off on Saturday. I said, I can't pay them overtime because the state does not pay overtime. If you want the trees trimmed, we'll do it now. If not, trim them yourself.
Well, what was the reasoning? What was the logic behind that? Not wanting the inmates on there.
I have no idea. That's just some stupid rule that the superintendent of school has.
Lee?
Wow, unbelievable.
Mike, Lee Cherry here. One of the other things.
Hey, good morning.
We have a foundation. It's kind of unique. It is not controlled by the sheriff's office, but it does have a board of sheriff's deputies. And what is unique about this foundation is we survive off of corporate donations, and we've done very well. It was started in 2011, and since then we've given away over $35,000, all of it in Portsmouth. It's going towards scholarships, and it's going towards youth. This last year, we have donated to just about every little league in the city of Portsmouth. And I'm proud to tell you that 2 weeks ago, the foundation gave a check in the amount of $10,000 to the PTAs in Portsmouth. And what we did is we did not give it to the school board. We gave it to the PTA. The Council of PTA will use that money for the elementary schools in Portsmouth to help the teachers at the elementary school level buy supplies that they need that the school board is not giving them money for. And they were very, very appreciative. So to follow up on what the sheriff said, we're moving forward with youth programs as he gets reelected. The foundation will continue to grow, and we have been very successful. And I will tell you that foundation comes under the umbrella of the Southeast Virginia Foundation. It's actually the Portsmouth Sheriff's Office Community Service Fund that comes under the Southeast Virginia Foundation. So there's some of the ideas. And, I said earlier, I'm lucky I get to work for a man that thinks outside of the box.
All right, thank you, Lee. Let's go, and thanks, Mike. Let's go to the phone lines where we have
thank you, John.
Betty.
Take care, guys.
Thank you, Mike. Have a good weekend. Betty
Yes,
in Portsmouth. Betty, you're on the air.
Yes, I'm just calling to tell you that when our sheriff says he's only a phone call away, you can definitely depend on that, because we have a really small Civic League Association in our area, and we have a lot of problems out here, and when we know we need help, all we have to do is pick up the phone and we call and say, Sheriff Bill, we need some help. Can you be here? And we don't have to worry and don't have to wait too long because he's right here. And he's helped us with so many things that we would not be able to accomplish otherwise. So we appreciate our sheriff. We're going to see our sheriff back in office in November. So I hope everybody gets out and puts Bill Watson for sheriff.
Well, thank you,
Bill.
Betty.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. You have a great day.
All right, that was Betty. I got a couple more minutes. Bill Watson running for re-election for sheriff in Portsmouth. He has the full-throated endorsement of the John Fredericks Radio Network. He is an FOJ, friend of John, and we're going to work our tail off to be sure that he's re-elected to another term in Portsmouth, because he's done a great job and he got screwed by the Democratic Party for no reason. And, this is the kind of stuff where the people just have to rise up. This isn't about a political party. This isn't about Louise Lucas's ego. This isn't about who controls what. This is about the people making the decision for who they want as their sheriff in their city. And it shouldn't be up to Louise Lucas, and it shouldn't be up to some power broker of a political party. And if they went through the process the proper way and they wanted to challenge Bill in a primary and defeated him, then he would not have been able to run as an independent, because that's the law. He'd be out, right? So they rigged the system because they couldn't beat him in a primary, hoping that he wouldn't have the resources or the energy to then turn around and run for re-election as an independent without the Democratic line on the ballot. And he's done that anyway, and he's going to win again, because it's not up to Louise, it's up to the voters of Portsmouth. I want to thank the sheriff for being in today and chatting with us, and I want to thank his captain, Lee Cherry, and anything that we can do in order to assist you guys. Call me before you call anyone else.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you, John.